flooded or being overrun with cultists and things like that. You're not doing anything about it. With all due respect, there's not a lot they can do about it. They don't have that kind of authority, like you said. They don't have that kind of voice, because it hasn't been given to them. It has been taken away from them, so to speak, right? So that all that they can do is parrot what the politicians tell them to parrot, or parrot what the government tells them to parrot. But if they had separated that, separation of the politics of the day from the traditional rulers, knowing that the government doesn't have to pay your traditional rulers anything. If you people want to keep your traditional rulers because you believe in them and because you believe in their authority, then you guys fund them. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
So that then take you back to what the African Wahala said, Charm.
Yeah.
Of what use is their existence now if they exist on the, today, if they exist at the mercy of the politicians not to serve the people with no authority. So why then keep them? You get what I mean?
See, that's it. But okay, that's one point that he's making. But
what you are proposing is that they should be given responsibility. Politicians have thought all of this, and they felt like they won't give them. So since they won't give them, what is now their purpose? Just ceremonial.
So, yes, in as much as it is ceremonial, but they can have some kind of.
But that ceremonial position is working against the interest of their people mostly. You understand what I mean now? Like imagine a king that is a land grabber, right? And also a land scammer, a first class king, right? Duped people to the tune of over 100 billion naira. I'm talking about billion, not millions, billion naira. Right? But the only reason why he's protected is because...
I mean, I understand that. I understand what you're saying, that if you have a runaway traditional ruler who is doing all of those things, like I said, right, in as much as the traditional, if we separate them so that they don't have that kind of influence, right, on the politicians, the government and everything, they don't have influence on the, what's it called, on the traditional ruler, but the traditional ruler is only subject to interact with the how will I put it now? The relationship is between subject and ruler, the people that believe in them, right? Exactly.
But people cannot be subjected to two authorities in the same space. You know that too. That's why they don't give them any responsibility. And that's why the only thing they use them for.
I still feel like to some extent, I understand where.
Yeah, you do.
I understand where you're coming from, right? But I think in terms of being a voice for their own people is where I'm looking at. I'm not looking at the fact that I know that there are people who are corrupt regardless, but there could be pillars in the society who will also speak against the politics and whatever is going on the day. Now, we don't have any of that. If everything that we've been saying on this part, on your platform, right, how all the institutions that we have, religious institutions, government institutions, and even now the traditional rulers, it's like everyone is drinking from the same cup.
Yeah.
No one is checkmating anybody. No one is checking anybody. Right. Whereas if we had traditional rulers, who are not subject, who do not have any kind of, how will I put it, like they're not collecting anything from the government because the government is not paying them. The government is not giving them, okay, because you're the traditional ruler of such and such, you are entitled to such and such. No, remove all of that, right? Any traditional ruler that wants to live, should live as much as, or should have wealth as much as their people can afford, right?
Again,
like, okay, so as much as, okay, if Mayogu were my traditional ruler, as much as I can give Mayogu is how he will live. Do you understand? Right? So now, if Mayogu decides that he wants to fly a plane or whatever, then he has to source for his,
personally, the thing about it is Charm. I love your innocence in this matter. Okay, but I promise you, right? If it has to be the point where we all have to argue for and against traditional institutions, right? You see, the ones that we have right now, is so bad enough that in Kano, they have something like what you just described now. Okay. So what happened is that the politicians don't fund the Kano rates, okay, and then the government but the government made an arrangement. So the arrangement is that there will be Kano Emirates could make money from their subjects. So a section of it was given to them like markets where they could collect some money for the Emirates. So they have accounting section, okay? So there's money that comes like in form of allocation to them, okay? So which means all they have to do is just account for it. But usually they never ask them to account for it until Sanusi criticized Gandola, okay? Now what happened? They now discovered that Sanusi was actually spending more than 20, 30 million naira every day. Like Sanusi was spending tens of millions of naira in such a way that even the Emirate was shocked, but they were not to ask. It was not actually meant to be used against him. He was buying himself all these exotic, these classic antique cars and all that. But the bottom line is that these guys, they are not really different from the politicians, okay? And hang on. And in most cases, right? In most cases, the history of ownership or traditional rulership and all that just means that the king can do anything. Do you get that? The king is over everyone. So who is
I understand.
Hang on. Who is now going to probe the king? And if the king is found to have looted money, what authority would then have to go over? Because the king cannot be wrong. So that's why.
But unless I'm wrong, but the king, you have the king makers and you have the kings, and based on what I've been told, you can't become a king without the king makers. So there's still checks and balances there. So even if a king is misbehaving, the king makers can still call him to order. So it's not the king makers can never be king, but the king makers can call the king to order.
Because that's what the rule says, Cham. But in reality,
somebody in the comment section, I'm sure they will take me to task with regards to that. But I still feel that even in those institutions, you still have checks and balances. I think the point I'm really trying to make here is that some of these institutions have a place to play. The way we also admire the English monarchy, right? They have their place. It's not like they can influence laws and everything, but we still wait for the king's speech, don't we? We still want to hear what King Charles has to say, even though whatever he has to say might not be anything that the politicians will run with or anything, but it shows that he has a pulse on what is going on in his kingdom, so to speak.
That too is also debatable. The king or the queen is the head of government in the UK. You know that?
But that's
it was like constitutionally recognized, which means they have a role assigned for the king and the queen. Ours doesn't.
See, but part of the problem is that we haven't been allowed to evolve organically towards those kind of things, right? We've just been rushed, and then the biggest part of the problem we have is that the quality of the politicians and the people themselves haven't allowed this kind of organic transition to happen, if you see what I'm saying. Now, because you are dealing with a lot of corruption, we're dealing with a lot of people who with bad faith, basically, in general, and now everything is so mixed up together. The people are so the corruption has seeped into all of the institutions that it becomes really, really hard to kind of for it to resemble or to look like anything that they have in countries like
take you back to the African Wahala position again, when he himself cannot deal with all this mess. He said, clear all of them out, and maybe when we now start sitting back to redesign, somebody like yourself, Charm, can actually argue for the importance of traditional institutions, and a proper role will be assigned to them. But with what they have right now, I think it's a lost argument if people have their way.
Well, I guess when you look at it from that way, if you feel like the institutions are not redeemable, but I just want us to bear in mind that these are the institutions that were actually
it is redeemable because their role, their role is so better. They are the closest to the people, right? But they were stripped of that. They were stripped of those authority, responsibility, and replaced that.
So you have to ask yourself. Exactly. So you have to ask yourself, right? So where did it go wrong? They were stripped of it because ordinarily it shouldn't have evolved on its own. evolved into this the current situation that it's in at the moment, right? But anyway, we can argue back and forth regarding this particular issue.
I know
And I
you will
think the
change
only
your
other thing I
position,
wanted
right?
to,
That's fine. You've made your
no,
point too,
it's not about
okay?
me.
Go on,
It's
sorry.
not. It's not about me changing. It's not about me changing my position. I'm just trying to say that there is a place for tradition, right? But it has to be done right. And because of the
Yes.
way, just because of the way Africa has been so-called dragged into democracy and so many other things, right? Without the proper wraparound, for all of these things. So this is where we are. We have corruption at the highest level, infiltrating all the institutions. So the things that could have been of use to us have no longer been of use to us. We have to also remember that these institutions that were there, they were existing, and these institutions, the so-called colonizers, found it very hard to break through. But because of democracy and because of the way we have run our countries, we can easily dismiss them. I don't know if you understand where
I
I'm
do.
coming
I
from,
get your
right?
point totally. Right, I do.
And then, but again, it's not, we can go back and forth on this particular issue, but
I know.
this is what my understanding is. And then with regards to those people who feel like Igbo people are a problem, Maigo, I think you're doing the best that you can do to inform, and change hearts and minds. But I just feel like some people are a lost cause. If somebody who is living abroad can still sit back where they are, talk about racism and this
I
and that,
swear.
and still have a problem with another black person who hasn't stolen anything from you,
Nothing.
who came legitimately to your own land, used their own money to buy property, to create businesses and to create wealth all around, just the way that you have broken it down for us. Because it's not like they go and they open up shop somewhere and that's the end of it. They open up shop somewhere, you tax, so you collect tax, they collect the land tax, whatever tax, any tax that they can
Yes.
drum up and dream up, they collect from these people, right? They build all these structures, they build factories, they do all of these things. And for some reason you still feel that they're taking something legitimately away from
Because
you.
APC
I,
told them so. And it's unfortunate that
well,
some people are taking that in unconsciously, thinking it is true. And to
and
that, they
then
have to stand up. And these are people who have nothing, who have no real thing. But for those ones who have a lot, who continue to push this narrative, they have no idea the damages it is, okay? I mean, how
no,
could
no. I think,
hmm?
I think they do have an idea, but they couldn't be bothered about it, to be honest. Because as far as they're concerned, as long as those damages are not at their doorstep, they couldn't be bothered. They don't care if people die because of this so-called bigotry. They couldn't be bothered because once again, it doesn't have anything to do with them. The person who has died doesn't share a surname or anything with them, so they will carry on with that, bigotry and all of those tropes and carry on because it doesn't get to their doorstep. But my problem is not with the people pushing it; it's the people who actually believe it, And again, like I said, I will not argue with anyone who has those kind of thinking because I just feel like I don't even want to know. I don't even know what's going on in your head for you to
I
think the
mean,
way
I
you're
don't
thinking. But
understand how sick people
I,
are
I,
in
I
their
don't
head to
I
be
don't
like that.
I don't understand your thinking, your thought process, and because I can't understand, I just cannot be sitting at the same table with you,
No,
and I will not spend my precious time arguing with you. So
thank you
well
so
done
much,
to you,
Cham.
Marigo, for the
Mhm.
effort and everything that you put
Bless
forth.
you. Okay, thank you so much for this morning. Okay, you have a good one. A wonderful morning. I have another person on the line. Hello.
Yes, sir, Mr. Maigun.
Is that your first one?
Baba, ẹyẹ
You
méjì ò
see,
kí
I'm
ń
going to
jàjà.
actually survive if I go blind, though. You know that. Eh?
Baba, you know go go blind.
Now, I'm just saying,
Baba,
like,
nothing, Baba,
a
nothing
lot
go
of people will
happen
be
to
so
you.
surprised that I could do a lot of things because I've mastered them. I've mastered voices, I've mastered tones, and I'm actually like practicing that to get a lot used to it new. But I'm not going to go blind
Baba,
yet, okay? Not yet.
nothing go do you, man.
No.
Nothing.
What do you call it? Baba, everybody can hear you, so please.
Yes, sir. So, honestly, I just want to. What caught my attention was Cham. He was kind of struggling in one way, and I think what she didn't realize is
Cham
that
was trying to put up a defense for the traditional
yeah,
institutions.
Baba hold on. Baba remember that line. Someone was saying, "Oh, lọ far gan."
They are
You remember
gone.
that? Oh, lọ far
Go
gan.
far,
Eh?
people.
Uh-huh. You see, when it comes to this royalty, I mean, let me use the word royalty. Let me talk about traditionalists and traditional leaders. which mainly the head of them is the king in every tribe in Nigeria. Okay, in Igbo land, Yoruba land, Hausa to they have their home, which they call them, I don't remember. Well, anyway, but the main point I'm trying to make is that she doesn't realize that our people, they don't destroy everything long time ago. Everything when it's come to, when it's come to kinship, there is order, there's a traditional order in which they attain that throne. So now they are not following even the due process. How many kings nowadays go to Ipebi? Baba Shebi used to be waiting at the call Ipebi round.
And now, because you have to go there and perform the 21 days a ritual.
Okay, so how many kings in Nigeria, Baba? How many kings in Nigeria? How many kings in Nigeria lost Ipebi in Yoruba? Because I'm Yoruba guy, so let's talk about Yoruba land. Ọba mélòó ló ń wọ Ipebi? Láyé tá a wà yín sí. Baba, láyé ìgbà yẹn back then in the days, just for the other callers, so that's what I'm saying. If a king has to be chosen, it has to be done by the traditionalists. If I chooses the king.
Yes.
If a king tell you that you should catch fire, I guarantee you it will happen. But they've watered down everything. Everything that will be desecrated due to corruption. Corruption is a bastard. Baba.
It destroys everything.
Corruption
is a bastard. Man. It destroys everything.
It's like a cancer.
Civilization. Corruption destroys civilization.
From everywhere.
Everything.
Oba, imagine they are killing kings.
Then they kidnap kings. Oh, the Air Force One. They kidnap king. Baba, see, king they trek for bush. Move. Mutefi. When the Fulani carry gun on top, he said, king, they raped his wife in his presence. They killed him. King in Ondo.
Honestly speaking, to be honest, I think all these things started from the day all these strange religions came to Nigeria. I'm talking about Christianity. I'm talking about Islam.
That's what I mean by they have now adulterated the whole thing. If you are now not seeing born again,
so they demystify, they make sure invalidate.
Akbar in charge of in the palace of Yoruba Oba, and they will be telling you, God is the highest, God is the most almighty, not any Orisha. And people clapped and watched. Now we have political Obas, thugs.
So all these things Cham is saying, Cham already don't know that. How do you know what man? They don't go far.
Cham is.
I mean, you are just like figurehead.
No, Cham is remembering that beauty of tradition and culture, and the influence and authority that comes with it. All those things they are now in the books. Cham, maybe in the library.
They are just go to the history.
They are
now
history. Real.
I'm telling you.
It's all
they've demystified. They've desecrated. It has, in fact, do you know how many sacrilege these people have committed? Just like this, that's our sacred, as in our core sacred virtue that we have in Yoruba land.
I'll give you two. Historically, right? Oba of Benin.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't leave his palace. If it does, it's like the old Benin is coming out, except for some traditional right. He doesn't visit people. He doesn't leave his palace. He's there, and he doesn't meet his own crowned prince. Okay?
Yes.
This is the tradition that has been protected for so long. But you see this current Oba of Benin, he's a regular visitor now to Aso Rock, especially under Bokwari and Tifnumbu. He also kind of have all this Oba is coming to. All that now is no longer there. Okay? So I really love Benin people that wherever is left, they are holding on to it. Now, the Oba has also answered that one that he can't meet his crown prince until the day he dies. You know, that's tradition.
Yes.
But
yes.
there reason behind it. But now they said, no, Oba has declared that it's no longer needed. And a lot of Benin people kind of feel like, well, we are modernizing too. It is the same thing with Ooni of Ife. Ooni of Ife doesn't leave his palace. Nobody sees the on his face. Only on your day. On your day is the day he will open his eye like this and pray for all of the children of Ife and Yorubas. Those who are looking to be successful in their businesses, those who are looking for the fruit of the womb. On your day is the day you see the face of Oni. But when Oni, the former Oni before this one, became the champion that was using their coffins to bring guns to Modakeke, to Ile-Ife, Modakeke war, where they were killing themselves at the time. Shiju Ade was Abacha's a very good friend, a regular visitor to Aso Rock. About Olofa, you don't talk about Odipugon. Things the current Oba is not a TikTok Oba or New
what did Jasham say? What did Jasham say?
You know, a lot.
Many things have gone wrong. Many things have gone wrong.
Thank you,
Baba,
for stopping
very
by.
sorry.
You have a good one, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. That's your first one, ladies and gentlemen. There's so much that they have done to our culture, our tradition, and as for many other things that have gone wrong, our morality and every other thing like that, it didn't happen overnight. They happen gradually. Oluwofi, one of the 7 children of Okonbi, the son of Oduduwa gave born Okonbi gave birth to 7 children. One of them, Oluwo, became the Oluwo of Iwo, the core Yoruba son. One drug addict came and became their king because he could give them money. Then he became their king and desecrated the entire stool. And he declared Iwo an emirate. And he said they should call him Emir of Iwo. Orisha is nonsense. All this Orisha. It's all thing. We need to modernize and the way it became Larubawa Akondiwere. It will sit down on camera. I'm a lori camera. Oba, a royal father. And there are so many others too who are like a land grabbers. Grabbing land of their community, selling them as cheap as they can sell them, marrying several wives and all of that, and then spokesperson for criminal politicians that gave them crowns and their staff of office. We have seen a lot. And I will stand where this conversation will take place and conditions will put in place to actually keep any royal institution in Yoruba land. I hope I'm clear about that too, because I love royal institutions too. But this destroyed one, we have to sit down and replan it. Seriously. Hello there.
Hello dear, Baba Gbalagba.
Baba. Is that Adiola? Or is this? Oh, Martinelli. It's Martinelli. Yeah. See, I'm working on I'm working on my hearing kind of thing. Whereby, once you sound like that, it'll just open for my head like
you are doing well. You are doing very well. You actually tried with the first one. You do well. You normally get my voice, but maybe because of the way I came in today, that's why you didn't get it. Baba, I'm heartbroken. They don't abuse me today. They sort the hell out of me. They abuse me.
I don't read social media anymore. They abuse hell out of me.
Martinelli,
you know, it's because of this traditional institution. The thing is, a lot of people are still confused about it, and a lot of people think that because some of us are still holding on to whatever shred that is left of the, whatever shred. It's not like our life doesn't depend on it. That's what a lot of people need to understand. I'm a Benin man. I'm from Edo, and we follow culture, but the fact that we revere our king, it doesn't necessarily mean that if the king asks us to jump, we will jump. No, we are not stupid. The king knows that his subjects are not stupid. He knows. And whatever the king is doing now, he's not doing it for himself. He's doing it because he knows that there are some people, not everybody. He knows that there are some people who still believes in that if the king should give up, I'm pretty sure if you ask the king privately that do you believe in Nigeria or he will tell you the truth that he doesn't. So, but because there are some people who still believes in that tradition, the gentleman has to do what he needs to do.
Play it safe.
If the just God bless you. He has to play it safe. If the king, in the traditional institution of Nigeria, cease to exist today, our kings, our traditional rulers, they will still exist. They will still survive one way or the other. They will survive. You need to understand that some of these people,
any system of government that pops up, because
God,
a lot of us
they
actually
will.
do respect our tradition for real.
Yeah,
Like for
that's
real. No
it.
matter how much we feel towards these people, I mean, for
they will
real,
survive.
right? We do
They
have
will
this
survive.
connection that's Omo.
Yeah, I respect my king, but that doesn't mean that I love him or that I revere him, but I respect him like because he's the king. You know what I mean? Like I will
respect the
I will pay
institution
my
that he represents.
yeah. God bless
especially.
you. I respect the institution that he represents for. I mean, and I also have some people. I have some relatives. I have some cousins, some friends who are also from Benin who